Okay, good morning, boys. Good morning. Schus Baruch Hashem, to share with you a few words of Torah. I wanted to do something a little bit different this morning. Just a little bit different, which is not to speak to you from the parsha, but instead to speak to you about an incredible Gemara. All right, so let's begin. Who could tell me what's a kinyan? What's a kinyan? Sorry? When you acquire something. Excellent. Who could give me, remember again, in halacha, in order to own something, you can't just say I own it. You have to do something in order to actually acquire it. Good. Who could give me an example of a kinyan? Give me an example.
Pick up the object.
Excellent. Picking up. What is that called? Anyone know? What is it called when you pick up something in order to acquire it? I'm sorry? You are kona it. Correct. That is what occurs. The name of the kinyan is hagbah. Literally to lift up. Good. Anyone know any other kinyanim? Any other kinyanim?
Take it off your property.
Take it
Off their property.
Take it off your property. It's excellent. 2 for 2. Good. Anyone know what that's called? That's called Mashicha. Mashicha. Now, Mashicha, by the way, doesn't literally mean that you even have to pull it, right? Mashicha could just mean you exert force in order for the object to move from one rishus to another. So, for example, let's say I'm going ahead and buying a cow from Yosef. So if I want to go ahead and do Mashicha, like the Gemara says, Korla bihiba, I could call to the cow. I don't know exactly how you call to a cow, but however you call to a cow, you hear cow, and if it moves as a result of my voice, then ultimately, again, that's a kinyan. Or I give it a little zetz, a little patch, and it moves, that's called Mashicha. Good. Another kinyan, anyone know? Anyone know? There's a lot of kinyanim, just like examples. Excellent. What is that called? So that could be Mashicha, could also be Mesira. Because Mesira is an act where you go, unless you pick up the foot of the animal or the mane of the animal. Excellent, good. Any other kinyanim?
Rolling it.
I'm sorry? Rolling it, good. That would also fall under Mashicha, Mesira, excellent. Paying for it. Kinyan Kesef, excellent, good. There's also Kinyan Chatzar. Anyone ever heard of Kinyan Chatzar? What's a Chatzar? Courtyard, excellent. So what do you think Kinyan Chatzar is? You bring it to your car, or somebody puts something in your property and you acquire it. So good. So why am I telling you all of this? Because listen to this Gemara. The Gemara says, let me ask you this question. Out of all of the strongest kinyanim, if you had to rank the kinyanim, what do you think is the strongest type of kinyan a person can make? What's the best kinyan? What do you think? Bring it to your property. Why? Good. Excellent. In other words, I would have thought that also. Bring it into so it's in my domain. Good. Any other thoughts? I'm sorry? Buying it. Money. Right? Why? Because you've paid for it. Excellent. Good. Any other thoughts? So I'll tell you what the Gemara says. The Gemara says, the truth is, it really depends. First of all, it depends on the type. Again, I don't want to get too technical over here, but maybe it's too late for that. But it depends on the type of item you're acquiring. For example, what we call Nechasim sheish l'machrayis, real property, land. Land is acquired, kasef, money, shtar, document, chazaka. Anyone know what chazaka means? I'm sorry, strength. Excellent. Literally what chazaka means, strength. Some type of act of ownership. You put up a fence, or there is a fence, and you take it down. Nechasim sheish l'machrayis, which means movable property. So the Gemara says are acquired, either hagbah, mashicha, mesira. Also money, but money is a different, whole different discussion. So the Gemara says, the best kinyan that you could do for movable property is, get ready for it, hagbah. Hagbah. Can I borrow your tefillin? This is mamish, every sheet of tefillin you got going on over here. Baruch Hashem, right? So I'm picking up my Rashi, my Rabbeinu Tam tefillin, right? I want to acquire it from Judah, so what do I go ahead? This is movable property, obviously. I lift it up, hagbah, and it's mine. To the point that the Gemara says, let's say, by the way, this is actually a great case. How else can I do a kinyan on these tefillin? Let's say it's resting on the ground. How else? This is the floor. How else can I do a kinyan on it? Oh, I'm sorry? I could put them on. Excellent. Like where? How else? Drag it. Excellent, right? I could go ahead and by the way, if I were to drag it into my rishus, what would that be called? Somebody said it. It could be kinyan chatzar. Good. What else could it be? Mashicha. Literally, again, I'm literally pulling it. It could also technically be Mesira. Because if Judah told me, take hold of the strap and just take the strap, even if I don't move it, that could be Mesira. See here, this is actually a great example. I could do Meshicha, pull it. I could do Mesira, Judah tells me just to lift it up. And I could do Hagbah. So the Gemara says, if you have a choice, best kinyan to do is Hagbah. To the point that the Gemara says that if you could do Hagbah, you're not allowed to do anything else. No other kinyan. Wherever Hagbah works, can't do another kinyan. So listen to this. So the Gemara says, thank you. So the Gemara says that what about a behema daka? Anyone know what a behema daka is? Behema, animal, daka. So you'll get to this in Meretz Hashem one day. Behema daka means a small animal. Give me an example of a small animal. I'm sorry, fox. Good. What about I'm sorry? Chicken. Good. Let's go with the chicken, because I don't know how many people are acquiring foxes. I guess maybe if you're in the fur business, Chicken. Chicken is a good example of behema daka. So now, guys, so chicken, movable property. If I were to ask you, I were to come to you, be the rabbi, what is the best way to acquire a chicken? What would you say? Best way? I'm sorry? Store, right, store, you can go buy it. That is true. Let me clarify. A live chicken. I want to pick it up. Hagbah. So the Gemara says something amazing. The Gemara says, now the truth is, the Gemara is not really dealing with the chicken. The Gemara is dealing with something like a little bit bigger. So if you can imagine I don't know what's a good... I'm sorry? A what? A goat. I was going to say like a little deer. Like, I don't know, what do you call a little deer? Like a deerla. A little deer. Right? So I want to acquire a deerla. So the Gemara says, how do you acquire a deerla? So again, I would think, based on what we said, hagbah. You lift it up. But the Gemara says, but if you also did Mashicha, it works. Or if you did Mesira, it works. So the Gemara goes nuts. What are you talking about? You just said that if you have movable property and you could acquire it with Hagbah, how do you acquire it? Hagbah. By the way, Hagbah is like what word? What word? We do this every Monday, Thursday, Shabbos morning, Shabbos mincha. Hagbah, it's the same thing. Right? Hagbah is really Hagbah. I'm lifting up the sefer. It's the same word. So the Gemara says, I don't understand. You just told me that if it's movable property, you could only do it with Hagbah. A dirla is movable property, and I should be able to lift it up. But yet the Gemara says, even if you drag it, or even if you pull it, it still works. So the Gemara says, why? Why does that work? So listen to the lashon of the Gemara. The Gemara says, shiny behema, the sircha. The Gemara says a behema is different. Why is a behema different? If you ever do this, I've actually had this experience. You ever try to lift up a dirala or a godala? Right? You ever try it? Right? They run away, but let's say even if they don't run away. You ever try to pick up a small animal? What does it do? Right? It gets scratchy. Often what it does is it tries to dig its feet into the ground. It does not want to be lifted, right? Nothing good is going to come to the dirala when it's being lifted up, right? It's not going to end well, whatever it is, right? So Lamaisa, what the animal Gemara says, the animal, it digs its feet in an effort to refuse to move. So the Gemara says, even though technically speaking, I'll use this as the dirala for just a moment, I could lift it. It is liftable, but because it so often digs its feet into the ground, so therefore, again, Hagbah almost becomes impossible, and you have to use a different kinyan. And the Rashbam says something so absolutely amazing. The Rashbam says, listen to this word, mistareches or mistabekes beragleha bekarka. When you try to lift a small animal, it literally digs its feet into the ground. Below efshar bahagbah ki im bakoshi. You can't lift it up. It refuses to be moved. It digs itself in. You can't move it. And therefore, you could if you try really hard. So because you can't move it, therefore the Gemara says, Hilchach orcha b'mashicha. Just use Mashicha. And guys, I'll tell you, I read this Gemara yesterday. It was learning. I was giving shiras to this Gemara. And it hit me in such a dramatic way that so often I behave like that dirala. What happens? Somebody's coming, they want to try to lift up the deer. And what does the deer do? The deer says, I'm not moving. I'm not changing. I'm not adjusting. I'm not pivoting. This is where I am. This is where I stand. And I'm going to dig my feet in to the point that no hagbah, no lifting up has the ability to occur. I thought to myself, how many of us suffer from that same challenge? Every single day in life, And I want to just tell you, boys, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to myself because this Gemara hit me like a ton of bricks. Every single day, there are opportunities all around us for Hagabah. There are opportunities for us to be lifted up. There are opportunities for us to accomplish great things. But sometimes, like that little animal, what do? What do we do when the opportunity to be lifted up comes? What do? We dig our feet in. We dig our feet in. And we refuse to move. And we refuse to change. And we refuse, bless you, and we refuse to grow. And even though all of these opportunities for Hagabah, to be lifted up, to become better than we currently are all around us, for whatever the reason, we just become so resistant to it. We dig our feet in, and we just simply refuse to be elevated. And meanwhile, if we released our grip just a little bit on the area upon which we are currently standing, if we released our grip just a little bit, and we allowed some of the positive influences around us to lift us up, to be magbiya us, there is no telling what we could accomplish. We sometimes think that the pathway to becoming better Jews and better people requires us to do this, to do this, to do this, to do this. I think what the Gemara is teaching us is that sometimes it's not even about what you do, but it's about allowing the influences, the positive influences around you, to lift you up. That sometimes it's just about stopping to hold on to the ground underneath you, to keep yourself in place, and to allow yourself to be lifted up. I don't have to be that animal that just digs its heels in and says, okay, this is what I do, this is how I am, this is how I live, this is how I conduct myself. But if I open myself up to change, if I open myself up to Hagbah, if I open myself up to growth, then the positive influences all around me can have such a dramatic effect. Tremendous lessons from a tiny little animal. Hagbah is always possible, growth is always possible, if you're willing to let it happen. So I wish you boys a beautiful last day of the week. I hope the Shabbaton goes incredibly well. I'm sure it will. And Chavri, you should just know a tremendous Hakar Satot to Rebbe Grossberg and to your Rebbeim, who really, and make sure, again, when you go to your respective Rebbeim for the Suda tonight, make sure to thank their Rebbitzin as well, because behind every wonderful Rebbe is an incredibly supportive Rebbitzin, especially opening up a home on a Shabbos night, a beautiful Talmidim. So have a wonderful time. Enjoy yourselves. I look forward to seeing all of you, Amir Hashem, tomorrow on the Shabbos day part of the program. Make sure you thank Rabbi Grossman and your Rebbe for all the work they put in, and I wish you guys a wonderful Shabbos.
Can I get over for a second?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Good job, Steve Mark. Good job. Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Good to see you. Good Shabbos it is. How are you feeling? Yeah? Shabbos and Fuhr Shalima. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos. It's good to see you, as always.